Okay, welcome to our channel. This is venting video about our journey really from a transition from BT mobile to EE mobile. Now the situation was that initially I phoned up BT to reduce our bill because we was paying what £200 a month for our broadband, home phone and mobile phones, and they said to us that it would be cheaper for us to go to EE. So we said, right, okay, well we go to EE and cut out 2 other phones that we weren't using, which is fair enough. Now I'm in an R for 2 days. We decided we wasn't going to go with EE, so we phoned BT up when they said, oh, one of our services was stopped being used, and we said we don't want to go with EE, we want to come back to BT. They said, okay, then you can refuse the SIM and then you can go back onto BT and you can give us the pack code from EE. We did this, and BT more or less stabbed us in the back and said, well, no, you can't go to BT because everybody's now moving from BT to EE. So then, because we refused the SIM cards at the door when the idiots DPD driver finally delivered 1 day late our SIM cards, it was like a case of the situation being, well, we was without the SIM cards. Now Helen's phone was not available for, let me see, 6 days. It's available today now, just today. Mine was unavailable for 24 hours, which I'm very lucky that that's the case. But because of Helen's phone not being like that, caused me and Helen a lot of mental stress, physical stress as well, because I mean, at the end of the day, when you have the issues that we got, people like me and Helen and myself can have a lot of issues as regards to keeping ourselves under control. I spoke to manager at BT and I said, listen, I said, all this inconvenience and you stabbing us in the back has caused us a lot of grief. And I said, well look, you should pay us substantial compensation. And he literally said to me, this manager, he said, well, how much are you talking about? And I said, between £50 and £60. He said, and he just went. Simple fact being, because I said, if you don't pay a substantial compensation, I will be going straight to Ofcom, the Ombudsman in the United Kingdom. And he went, oh well, how much? I said, between £50 and £60. He said, oh okay then, just like that. The managers very rarely come up and they say, well yeah, you can have, okay, well that's fine, you can have that conversation. They usually fight you down. And they say, well, we can only if you issue £20 or £30. But he issued us 60 quid. So he knew that we had a case to answer, we had a case to go to the Ombudsman, and BT had a case to answer, and EE also have a case to answer because they offered us £48.80. Now, let me see, that's quite a lot of money, that's over £100 in bills. So thank you very much for your compensation, but as far as I'm concerned, it isn't enough compensation for the stress and trauma that it has caused Helen, especially because she relies on that phone so much, and I rely on my phone so much, but I don't care about my number. What angered me the most was the fact that it is such an inconvenience for my fiance's phone and for my fiancée herself, caused me so much stress, so much anger and so much trauma that I couldn't sleep for 4 nights in a row now. And I'm thinking to myself, and I feel like it was my fault. All I needed to do was keep my mouth shut and keep paying £200 a month. But I don't need to be feeling that it's my fault. Helen doesn't blame me one bit. she blames BT and EE. It is their fault, but why is it that if you move over from BT to EE, you get the SIM and it should be that smooth? It should be as smooth as it went today and as smooth as it went when I put my SIM in. Just like that, your number goes from one to the other, and it's as simple as that. It's not rocket science to get it right, to send out a SIM and then transfer the number over and then cancel the number of BT. But no, they're not thinking straight. They screwed up. BT screwed up and stabbed us in the back, and also EE failed us. Otherwise the companies wouldn't be paying us all that compensation. Plain and simple, they just wouldn't do it, would they? If you was in the wrong, would you pay us compensation? No. You failed with your customer services, you failed with your actual way that you deal with stuff, and you failed by means of not getting out SIM cards quick enough for my fiance's phone especially. And I know that you rely on Royal Mail, I know that you rely on the idiots DPD, because they can't get a piss up right in a brewery. They can't pull their finger out of their rear end even if they tried, because of the people at the Dagenham depot. We rejected those SIMs because we didn't want them, and we do believe that those SIMs are activated by somebody in DPD. Could be the driver, it could be anybody. We don't know exactly who activated the SIMs, but we had 2 days of hell to get the security right on the system so we could actually get somewhere with EE to tell them exactly what was going on, because whoever set those SIMs up, the ones that we rejected, have created their own system of security. That one person was saying that it is this, and we were saying no, the security is this, and it was conflicting each other and we couldn't get anywhere. So we got somewhere in the end, but for it to take 2 days just to sort that out shouldn't be the case, because in those 2 days they failed to send out any SIMs whatsoever. It's an Easter bank holiday and it's not the most convenient time to do things. Now, fair enough, you could always say to yourself, well, yeah, you could have waited till after the Easter bank holiday to deal with something like this. We did it before the Easter bank holiday and it should have been sorted out early last week, not now, because if it was dealt with early last week, we would have hit the window before the Easter bank holiday, and it would have all been dealt with, and we could have all just had our EE SIMs and just been on our merry little way. But no, nothing of this is simple with BT and EE, or DPD, or Royal Mail, because they're all slow, and I am quite frankly disgusted with all 4 companies. I am appalled, because you need to pull your finger out of your rear end and do your job properly, because it is a disgrace, and you leave people who have mental disabilities, physical disabilities and things like that, and it's not recorded on anything, and you leave them in such vulnerable situations. I mean, Helen has had appointments and she's not been able to even get a taxi home because, you know, she can't make any calls on her mobile phone because there's no bloody SIM in there. And I get anxious sitting in here thinking to myself, well, hang on a minute, she can't even WhatsApp me to let me know her appointment's finished, and then I can call her a cab from here. No, it doesn't work. She can't do nothing. She can't call me up, she can't do nothing. So she's stuck there, she's stranded really, isn't she? Thanks to EE, because they can't pull their finger out, and I think it's disgusting. So at the end of the day, I think it's about time that they learn from this. If they watch this, they should learn from this. And if I was anybody who was joining BT and EE, I'd seriously consider your choices, because it does. People with mental health issues, I don't think that they'll take any of that into account anymore. BT and EE, you should. Right, so I'm going to leave it there, because at the end of the day, everyone, try and do your job properly. and let it not affect your mental health the way it has us, right? Because it really has had a detrimental effect on the both of us very deeply. So I want to say just one thing though, that BT have compensated us £60 and EE have compensated us £58, no, £48 and 40 pence. So I want to say thank you for that, but you know, the trauma that it's given us will last a very long time, and that you are not sorry about, I don't think. So I'm going to leave it there, and you guys, we'll see you later. Bye bye.